Okay, welcome back. So today I'm trying to understand what is Maker is. This is related with cryptocurrency, and Maker is I think the way I understand it is behave like a central bank that can issue, or like more like a bank that can issue loan, right? So for example, um, want to if you have a house and you want to make your house liquid, right? Instead of just doing nothing, you just live in the house, but you can actually collateral your house. You go to the bank and say to your bank, okay, I have a house for, let's say, $200,000, and the bank will take it as a collateral, and and as an exchange, the bank will give you some money. Let's say 100,000. So let's say it's like the ratio is like 2 to 1, right? So every $2 that the bank value, you will get $1 as a loan. So with that $100,000 cash you got, then you can do something about it. You can like open up a business. You can like buy stocks, or you can do something about it. So this is, I think, the idea of a maker. Uh, uh, there is a term called CDP, which is a collateralized debt, I think, platform that basically right now, as you can see here, later you can see it's basically using ETH. ETH is a token from the Ethereum ecosystem crypto. So it's going to be locked up. I think the ratio right now is about 150% to 1. So if you want to have 100 US dollars, you have to put like 150 US dollars worth of ETH to the CDP. And the CDP is like a smart contract based on the Ethereum blockchain, right? And the idea is, and once you get this 100 US dollars worth um, uh, of token that's called DAI, right? Coming out from the smart contract, which is called a CDP, Collateral Dev platform. And you can use this DAI to, for example, to buy another crypto. For example, if you're a believer in the Bitcoin, that you think that Bitcoin is gonna just keep on going up in the future because of the scarcity value of the Bitcoin, then you can actually use that. For example, 1,000 US a DAI to buy a Bitcoin, and then when it goes up, then you can uh, benefit from that. It goes up, right? So that's the idea. And then the other idea is to basically to make the DAI kind of stable, because right now, okay, we'll just read from here. So the popular digital assets BTC and Ether are too volatile to be used as an everyday currency, right? So the value of Bitcoin often experiences large fluctuations, rising or falling by such 25% in a single day. So, and occasionally rising over 300% in a month. So it's hard to do something that a business, or you want to invest, if your underlying store of value or medium of exchange or unit currency, it's too volatile. For example, if you want to buy, you have 100 US dollars, and 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 it's too volatile, and then you kind of like too afraid to use it, or too afraid to, yeah, because you do not know if after you buy that thing, then you can pay it back, because probably, let's say you have 100 US dollars and you buy, let's say, furniture for your house, for example, and then you have to pay back, uh, and then let's say you owe that money from a bank, right? But you do not know if that 100 US dollars is going to be more expensive, or it's going to be much, much, much cheaper in the future, right? So you have this uncertainty. Basically, you're trying to hedge to make the uncertain become more certain. So this is the idea of um, a DAI. Um, and they said it's a soft back instead of a hard back. So there is another stable coin. So the DAI stable coin is a collateral backed cryptocurrency. I think this is the only one kind of and whose value is relative stable to the US dollar. This is the one that I'm still confused. How come it's how does it make it stable? Because the other stable coin, I think Tether and USDT, I think Tether USDT is I think from Gemini, I'm not sure, but it's hard pegged to the US dollar. So for every, for example, Tether or every USDT that are issued, the let's say from Gemini or from another party, they have somewhere at the back $1 to back it up. So for every one USDT or for every one Tether, there's one USDT, right? But then there's a risk if you can really trust because it's more like a centralized mechanism, right? And the idea of this cryptocurrency, one of the ideas is to decentralize, to have it like a trustless. So if you have a central authority that's guaranteeing that uh, that crypto is gonna be always like or almost like one USD, but it's centralized, then yeah, we kind of like go back to square zero, right? Um, so this is like um, I think it has a very promising, but okay, we'll see. So it says here, unlike other stablecoin, DAI is completely decentralized. Okay, which means the other the other stablecoin is more centralized, right? Like the one that I just mentioned. So users can obtain DAI by buying it from brokers or exchanges. Okay, so right now I think you can buy just I think Coinbase just announced like yesterday I think that they already released DAI in their crypto exchange, so you can actually buy it. Um, but I'm not really sure why you want to buy DAI. Um, yeah, I'm I have I can understand why you want to create a DAI because you want to leverage what you have, right? For example, if I have let's say one Bitcoin, right? And I want to leverage that one Bitcoin. So I can put it in the CDP, in the collateralized debt contract. And then I got, for example, about zero point 0.5 Bitcoin. And I can use that zero point 0.5 to, uh, or let's say, 500 US dollars to buy another Bitcoin, right? So if the Bitcoin goes up, then I gain from that 500 US dollars worth of Bitcoin, right? Double, it becomes like 1,000. While in my collateral, I still have $1,000 worth of Bitcoin still. So, uh, so I have like instead of I have 1,000 only. If I don't do the collateralized def using the CDP from a maker, then I would only gain through 1,000 US dollars worth of Bitcoin times two, so it's 2,000. But since I put it on a collateral, I have 1,000, and then I got another 500, and then if it goes up, then it's going to be 1,500 times two, so it's going to be 3,000. So instead of getting only 2,000 US dollar of Bitcoin, I get 3,000 US dollar of Bitcoin. So this is the idea of the leverage. Of course, it's kind of risky. What happens if it goes down? Then, so if it goes down, then of course you will lose. But in this case, if it goes down, if you have, let's say, 1,000 US dollars becomes, let's say, half the price, then you only have 500. But if you put it on the CDP, right? So you put 1,000, it goes down, becomes 500, um, and then you got, for example, also 500 from the CDP, and then it goes down, becomes 250. Um, then you are um, become 250, but because you already bought some Bitcoin using the DAI. So okay, so for example, okay, so you have $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, for example. I don't know where is that, like zero point 0.1, for example. Okay, um, you put it on the a contract, right? So and then you got about 500 US dollars. Let's say the ratio is like 1 to 1, right? 500. So if the Bitcoin goes up two times, then it's quite obvious, right? So you got the 1,000 on the collateral becomes 2,000, and then you got the output, the leverage, which is 500. you got times 2 also 1000. So the total output will be 1000 from the leverage, and then 2000 the one that's inside the collateral, which you can uh, get back, right? So all you have to do is just pay back the $500, whatever you own, you sorry, you borrow from the CDP contract, right? But the total you can think of right now, it's 2000 plus 1000, which is 3000, and then you just pay back 500, so you got 2500, right? Net, um, um, like the value. As compared, if you don't do anything, you just keep your Bitcoin, right? Let's say it's still 1000, and it goes up 2 times, and then you got 2000 US dollars worth of Bitcoin. So so you are winning if you put it on the collateral. Only if the Bitcoin is like multiplied by 2, like goes up by 2, right? But if the Bitcoin goes down, like let's say by 2 to, like say by half, what happens is, so if you have 1,000 US dollars of Bitcoin, then it goes to $500, right? Let's say in 1 year. So you lose 500. Okay, that's correct. That's clear. What happens is, if you put in the collaterals on the CDP, in the contract maker, or CDP, called Collateralized Debt Platform. So you put the 1,000, you got $500, you buy that DAI worth of 500 by Bitcoin, right? But the Bitcoin goes down, right? So instead of become 500, becomes 250. So now you only have 250 US dollars worth of Bitcoin, um, right? And then you could want to convert it into DAI, because you owe the bank DAI, right? You owe 500 DAI. Um, so you convert it to DAI, but you only have 250, um, and then you have $1,000 kind of uh, lock in the collaterals. That one becomes also 500 the value, right? But you just have to kind of to pay what to pay. Let's say you have to pay, you have to pay 500. So, but you only have 250, so you have to get the additional 250, probably. Probably you can get it from the collateral, but since the collateral also depletes from 500, so you get 250, and then you can return. So at the end, you only get 250 US dollars worth of Bitcoin, kind of. Yeah. So you're taking the risk too. So anyway, um, I'm super confused right now. So users can obtain DAI by buying it from brokers or exchanges. DAI holders can utilize a special mechanic known as the DAI savings rate to earn a steady, low-risk return on their holdings. So that's one of the advantage of holding DAI, even though it's like kind of soft back to the US dollars. It's like 1 to 1 to US dollars. But you can actually earn a saving rate to earn a steady, low-risk return. Special mechanic known. Okay. Maker is a smart contract platform on Ethereum that backs and stabilizes the value of DAI through a dynamic system of collateral depositions, autonomous feedback mechanism, and appropriately incentivize external actors. Okay. Makers enable anyone to leverage their Ethereum assets to generate DAI on the Maker platform. Yeah, to leverage their Ethereum. So right now, the only assets that Maker accept is ETH, right? Probably in the future, it's going to accept more collateral assets, such as Bitcoin, could be gold, could be your house, probably. I don't know, right? Although I do not know how you're going to work on the details to, for example, to tokenize a house or to tokenize a physical gold. Probably you have to like surrender your physical gold to an office. Probably they're gonna build a physical office, um, something like that. I don't know. Um, so once generated, DAI can be used in the same manner as any other cryptocurrency. It can be freely sent to others, used as payment for goods and services, or hold as long-term saving. So remember, it gives saving. It gives like a savings rate. Though I'm not really sure how this works. So so I think the system, the maker system, kind of incentive. I think it has to do with the incentivize the. I think that's one of the advantage if you want to have a like a low risk um, kind of how do you say it? Low risk return on your holding, and it's very, yeah, low risk instead of high risk. So you kind of just um, um, how do you say it? You have a Bitcoin, for example, right? Instead of just not do anything, but you know it's going to go up, so it's fine, and it's going to go down, it's going to go down. But you can actually buy a Bitcoin using DAI. Let's say you go to Coinbase. Um, yeah, I'm not sure because when you go to Coinbase, you actually, yeah, you convert. I think mm, you can convert your Bitcoin to DAI. But then if the DAI, if the Bitcoin appreciates, right? Because the DAI will just spec on a US dollar, so the DAI wouldn't like appreciates. So you are on the losing end. But if the Bitcoin goes down, then you still have the DAI still back to US dollars. But on top of that, you still have the savings, right, to earn a steady low risk return. Okay. Okay. So you can be sent to others, use as payment for goods and services, or hold as long-term savings. Importantly, the generation of DAI also creates the components needed for a robust decentralized lending platform. Okay. So this is what they've been saying. So there's a smart contract inside the maker. It's called CDP. It's a collateralized debt position. So anyone who has collateral assets, in this case, is right now it's only ETH. They can support multi-collateral in the future. Can leverage them to generate DAI on the Maker platform through Maker's unique smart contract known as collateralized debt positions. A collateral asset is a digital asset that the decentralized Maker governance process has input into the system. Okay, so there is an actor here that's called, or a party that's called Maker governance process. CDP holds collateral assets deposited by a user and permit this user to generate DAI. But generating DAI also accrues debt, right? Yeah. So like I said earlier, this is like the same. Like you go to the bank, you want to collateralize your house, for example, to open up a business, right? You have a house worth of 200,000, but you need, let's say, to open up a business, you need, let's say, I don't know, 100,000, right? So you go to the bank, hey, can I like collateralize my house? You know, I need to open this business, blah blah blah, and then you convince the bank, and then the bank, okay, okay, for sure, I will take your house just in case, uh, um, as a as something to back the debt, right? So in case the business doesn't, you cannot return the money because the bank is going to lend you the money, right? 100,000 US dollars. Then the bank can just seize your house. So you sign the contract, blah, 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 right? But in this case, in a maker platform, everything is going through inside the code, inside the software. So the CDP collaterals debt position is basically a smart contract. It's basically, so that's why I said earlier, CDP is acting like a bank, and it's a decentralized bank. It's a trustless kind of bank, so to speak, right? So, and it's very efficient because all you have to do is just put your ETH or put your Bitcoin probably in the future into the smart contract. You just open your laptop, right? And then in return you get a DAI, right? And then you can use that DAI to buy something else, right? While in the physical world, if you want to do that, you have to go through a bank, you have to go through a process. Probably the person of the bank has to go to your house to see your house if it's really worth of 200,000, and you have to read all of these papers, the clauses, all of this. I don't know, like, yeah. So um, it's very inefficient, and then the bank will give you 100,000, right? Um, so this is one of the advantages, that everything is already like online, everything is already coded and in the form of a smart contract. And the smart contract is based on Ethereum, right? So this debt effectively locks the deposited collateral asset inside the CDP until it is later covered by paying back an equivalent amount of DAI. So you get the DAI, right? You got as a loan after you collateralize your ETH at this point of time, right? And your ETH is locked until you pay back your DAI, right? The same thing as what the bank does, right? At which point the owner can again withdraw their collateral. So after you pay back your loan, you can withdraw your collateral back. So you can your ETH back, right? So you put $100 ETH, for example, worth of ETH, and then you got $50 worth of DAI after you, and then you do something with it, and then you pay back your $50 worth of DAI, and then you get back your $100 worth of ETH. Okay, so active um, CDP collaterals deposition are always collateralized in excess, meaning that the value of the collateral is higher than the value of debt. Okay, so this makes sense. It's also like in the real world, when you go to the bank, when you have like 200,000, like I mentioned, that you cannot get 200,000 also back, right? It cannot be one to one. It should be like less, because like the bank wants to kind of like have a spread, and to be sure that if something happened, what if like the the value of the house goes down, right? And then the bank will be on the losing end. So the same thing also happens here in the software, in the smart contract world, that the value of the collateral is higher than the value of the debt. Okay, so the CDP interaction process. Step one, creating the CDP. So you're kind of creating the smart contract, and you're depositing the collateral, which is it. So the CDP user. So uh, when you hear the word CDP, I think it's just you can replace it with a smart contract, right? So you're entering a contract, but it's a smart one because you are not dealing with people. It's everything is in software, right? So you first send a transaction to maker, right? So to create the CDP. So you kind of first send a transaction to create CDP, and then sends another transaction to fund it with the amount and type of collateral that will be used to generate a DAI. At this point, CDP is considered collateralized. Okay, so basically you send a transaction to maker, hey, I want to create a CDP, and then you send another transaction to fund it. So here is my collateral, 100 ETH, $100 ETH. I send it to the CDP, to the smart contract, and the type of the collateral, which is ETH, and then you get the DAI. Yeah. So step two, which is you're getting the DAI right now, the generating DAI from the collateralized CDP. Um, so the CDP user then sends um, a transaction to retrieve the amount of DAI they want from the CDP, and then in return, the CDP accrues an equivalent amount of debt, right? Locking them out of access to the collateral until the outstanding debt is paid. Okay, that makes sense. So you got your DAI after you locked in your collateral, you locked in your ETH, right? And in return, the smart contract will accrue the equivalent amount of the debt, which is like, let's say, 100 US dollar of ETH. Lock it, right? You cannot, I mean, lock it means you cannot get it out until you pay back the outstanding debt with DAI. Paying down the debt and the stability. fee. So here you're not, when you want to pay, you want to get your collaterals back, you are not just paying down the debt, meaning you're not just paying down the DAI, but you also have to, there's a fee, it's called stability fee. I think in a physical world, if you go to the bank, probably there's, I don't know, I've never done that in a bank, but probably they call it like administrative fee or something like that, just for service fee. But here there's a stability fee. I think this fee is to fund um, basically the operation, I think, of the maker platform, right? I mean, it's already automated. It's a smart contract. Everything is like work in a cloud and all that, computerized. But still, somebody has to maintain the coding, and somebody has to like. This is called a stability fee. So I think it's more to how to stabilize. Remember, DAI is basically a stable coin. They try to kind of soft pack it with the US dollar. I'm not really sure how they do that, but I think this says stability fee. I think it refers to for that purpose. So when the user wants to retrieve their collateral, wants to retrieve the ETH back, they have to pay down the debt in the CDP, plus the stability fee that continuously accrue on the debt over time. Hmm. So the stability fee, I think it's a percentage. I think that's what it means. It's a percentage of the how long your debt is inside the smart contract. That makes sense because the longer you are in a smart contract, it's like, I think it's more like equivalent to the interest rate, right? Uh, could be. Yeah, I think it could be like the interest rate because right now, if you go to the bank, if you want to get some loan from the bank, um, first you have to put collateral, let's say your house, or I don't know, it could be your business or your assets, for example, and you get some money from the banks. But on top of that, when you want to get your collateral back from your bank, you have to pay some interest. And now the interest normally is like by yearly or by monthly, right? Be like 2% per year or 3%, something like that. So in this case, that's the equivalent of the on the smart contract where you got uh, there's a fee that's called a stable fee, which is to make, and the fee is it's in relation to how long you are in that contract in that CDP. So okay, so the stability fee continues accrue. Accrue means okay, yeah, on the debt over time. The stability fee can only be paid in MKR or DAI if using the CDP portal IU. Okay, so you can pay in two currency, Maker. A Maker is another currency from the Maker platform, or you can use DAI if using the CDP portal IU. Once the user sends the requisite DAI and Maker to the CDP, paying down the debt and stability fee, the CDP becomes debt-free. And then when they will release the fund to you, they will release the ETH, the collateralized debt to you, and then you get your you get your ETH back, right? You're happy. Okay. Step 4, withdrawing collateral and closing the CDP. With the debt and stability fee paid down, the CDP user can freely retrieve all or some of their collateral back to their wallet by sending a transaction to Maker. So with the debt and stability fee paid down, the CDP user can freely retrieve all or some of their collateral. So you can actually retrieve all of them or only some of their collateral back to their wallet by sending a transaction to Maker. Okay. Single collateral versus multi-collateral. Okay. DAI currently supports only one type of collateral, pool ether. So only kind of one collateral ether. We plan to upgrade single collateral DAI to multi-collateral. The primary difference is it will support any number of CDP types. So it can, yeah, for Bitcoin or something. Pool ether, temporary mechanism for single collateral DAI. At first, pool ether will be the only collateral type accepted on Maker. Users who wish to open a CDP and generate a DAI using the first phase of the Maker platform need to first obtain PET. This is done instantly and easily on the blockchain by depositing ETH into a special smart contract that pulls the ETH from all users and gives them corresponding PIT in return. Got it. Okay, so it's like a crowd uh, sourcing or crowdfunding, something like that. If there is a sudden market crash in ETH and a CDP ends up containing more debt um, than the value of its collateral. For example, you put $100 worth of ETH into the CDP, right? And then it goes down like 90%. So um, um, uh, so your ETH now only worth like 10 US dollars. Yeah, from 100 it worth only 10 US dollars. And from that 100 US dollars of it, you get a loan of 50 US dollars each, right? But then your collateral only worth after the crash, for example, in what's about 6 months ago, which is happened really, the Ethereum, the ETH drops like 90%, right? From I think 1,200 becomes like only $100 something or $90, right? So it's even more than 90%. So if that happens, because you got a loan of 50 US dollar worth of it, but your collateral right now only worth of 10, right? So your loan is worth more than your collateral, right? So it's like saying right now you collateralize your house 200,000, for example, and then you got 100,000 US dollars for your business, right, as a loan, and then suddenly there's a crash on the housing market, and suddenly your house from 200,000 only becomes 20,000, right? But you're borrowing 100,000, actually you got a loan of 100,000. But so how do you pay back? Because your collateral is only 20,000, so you would just run, right? You don't want to. Why would you want to pay back? You would rather your bank to seize your house because it doesn't make sense to pay back, right? It makes sense just to run away, right? Because now the bank, if you run away, you don't have to pay back the 100 US dollars, right? Um, so you would rather just your bank just seize the collateral because the collateral is only worth 20 US dollars, right? So what happened right now? Um, so ends up containing more debt than the value of its collateral. Okay. The maker platform automatically dilutes the pit to recapitalize the system. Okay. What does it mean? Dilutes the pit. So it's just absorb the pit. This means that the proportional claim of its pit token goes down relative to the total pool ETH. Okay. After the Maker platform is upgraded to support multiple collateral types, PIT will be removed and instead regular ETH will be usable as collateral alongside other new collateral types. Okay. I'm not sure how this actually works. Like in the case of in the physical world, how does it work? I mean, if the bank, let's say, got your house, again, 200, you will just use example of 200 US dollars, and then suddenly there is a market crash, like, 90%, and your house suddenly just worth 20 US dollars. Then how does the bank react on that, right? I mean, I could just, if the bank give it to me, I would probably, the logical, I would just never pay it back, right? Hmm. We just declare a kind of bankruptcy. You don't want to pay back. Why would you want to pay back? You're right. You got already this 100 US dollars. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, that's something to think about. Okay. Okay. This is important. This is the one I hope I can find the answer here. So the price stability mechanism, target price. The DAI target price is used to determine the value of collateral assets. What time is it now? I think, okay, it's 30 minutes already. Okay. The DAI target price is used to determine the value of collateral assets DAI holders receive in case in the case of emergency shutdown. The target price for DAI is 1 USD, translating to 1 to 1 USD softback. Okay. This is the one I don't get. How do you softback this? Um, oh, I think I know. By by um, by playing with the ratio of the collateralized the debt with the loan. I think you kind of yeah softback that. And that's my intuition. So you have like $100 worth of ETH, right? And then how much loan would you get? I think the percentage of that will kind of like link to how the DAI will be softback to one to US dollars. I think that's what's really happening right now. Yeah, it's interesting mechanism. Okay, I kind of get it now. Yeah, because for example, if you know, right now Ethereum is what Ethereum is like $250 right now as of today, but that to uh yeah 250 US dollars for one ETH, right? So yeah, yeah. So if you let's say if you have one ETH, which means I have an equivalent of 250 US dollars each, right? Just one. I put it on a CDP, right? And then let's say the ratio is like 1 to 2. That means I will get about 125 US dollars of loan back worth of DAI because remember it's kind of trying to be soft back 1 to 1. Okay, so I got 125 US dollars worth of DAI. What if I got like 1 to 1 ratio instead of 125? I got full the amount. I put 250 US dollars of ETH. I got also 250 US dollars worth of DAI, which is worth of US dollars. How is that work? Would that impact the softback of DAI to US dollars? Hmm, interesting. It's complicated. I'm kind of confused right now. Because if you get more, yeah, yeah, I couldn't. Yeah, anyway, uh, my brain shut down already. So, okay, I think I have to end this in 5 minutes. I have to go. Sorry, guys. So, emergency shutdown. Emergency shutdown is a process. We'll continue it the next time, okay? Emergency shutdown is a process that can be used as a last resort to directly enforce the target price to holders of DAI and CDP. Enforce the target price hmm, and CDP and protect maker against attack to its infrastructure. Emergency shutdown stops and gracefully settles the maker platform while ensuring that all users, both DAI holders and CDP users, receive the net value of assets they are entitled to. Okay. Effectively, it allows DAI holders to directly redeem DAI for $1 to redeem DAI for $1 hmm, of collateral at the point in time when the emergency shutdown is initiated. It allows DAI holders to directly redeem DAI of collateral at the point in time. So, okay, let me read this again. It allows DAI holders to directly redeem DAI for $1 of collateral at the point in time when the emergency. Okay. Oh, okay. So this is what softback means. So there's this mechanism called emergency shutdown. I think if like the value is too high or too low, it will shut it down. And then this mechanism, is responsible for your DAI to be redeemed for $1 of the collateral at the point in time when the emergency is initiated. In single collateral DAI, the process is controlled by emergency oracles chosen by maker voters. Okay. In multi-collateral DAI, the process is fully decentralized and controlled by maker voters who can trigger by depositing maker into the emergency shutdown contract. A minority but significant quorum of maker voters is necessary to instantly trigger an emergency shutdown. Initially, this quorum will be 50,000 maker. For additional security, maker voters will also still be able to select emergency oracles that have the power to unilaterally trigger an emergency shutdown. Okay, wow, that's way off my head. Okay, maker voters will also still be able to select emergency oracles that have the power to unilaterally trigger an emergency. Okay, I'm gonna drink first. Example of serious emergency are long-term market irrationality, hacking or security breaches. The emergency shutdown mechanic will also be used to facilitate system. Okay, okay. Emergency shutdown step by step. Okay, I think I'm just gonna save. I'm gonna try to finish this until the emergency shutdown step by step. Okay, and then we'll continue next time. Okay. Emergency shutdown is triggered and CDP users withdraw assets. Oh, okay. So withdraw assets. What does it mean? Means you just surrender your DAI and then you get your collateral back. Okay. If enough maker voters or emergency oracles selected by maker governance believe that the system is subject to a serious attack or even emergency shutdown is scheduled as part of a technical upgrade, they can trigger emergency shutdown function. This stops CDP creation and manipulation and freezes the price feeds at a fixed value that is then used to process proportional claims for all users. Um, CDP users are able to immediately withdraw the net value of collateral in their CDP from the moment. Okay, so you are able actually to withdraw the net value, whatever you put in the collateral. So if you put 100 US dollars of each, right, say, yeah, then you'll get back, right? But you're putting on ETH, you're not putting actually US dollars. Hmm. So if it goes down significantly, you still get one ETH back, right? But now the values of the ETH goes down significantly, becomes like instead of 250 becomes only, let's say, 100 US dollars. Okay. Post emergency shutdown auction processing. After emergency shutdown has been triggered, a period of time is needed to allow pre-existing collateral auctions to finish. The auction processing period is set by maker governance to be slightly longer than the longest. Oh, blah, blah. DAI holders claim number three, step three. DAI holders claim the remaining collateral with their DAI. After the auction processing period is complete, DAI holders can use their DAI to claim collateral directly at a fixed rate that corresponds to the calculated value of their assets based on the target price of DAI. If the DAI target is 1 US dollar, Ethereum US is 200 and the user holds 1000 DAI. After the processing period, they will be able to claim exactly 5 ETH from the maker platform. There is no time limit for when the final claim can be made. In multi-collateral DAI, holders will get a proportional claim to each of the collateral type that exists in the collateral portfolio. Okay, if the DAI target price is 1, you got it to US 200, a user of 1000, and then there's an emergency shutdown activated, and then you'll get the claim 5 ETH. Okay. Um, I think I have to stop here. Okay. All right. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time for understanding of the DAI system or the maker platform.